I don't think it has much more in the tank besides 25,000 to go before, unfortunately, we start to crap out again. Basically, if you look at what the Fed is doing, they're not going to cut rates. We have to be fair with that. It might take a really bad recession for them to cut rates. So we're not going to see that cut, but I think they go to neutral. They stop hiking at least going into the new year. So I think so, right? And I think the biggest thing here as we jump into the charts is to just take a look at this wedge pattern, right? So you have this pretty wedge pattern with a trend line connecting here through here and all the way down, and then you have this one at the bottom. And basically what you can see is we broke out. So Bitcoin price in the near term has broken out. We've now gone into this kind of sleeper consolidation mode, which is actually a bullish consolidation pattern. We're consolidating basically because we're waiting on the Fed on Wednesday. So everyone just be ready for that. Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, the FOMC rate decision. Whatever they say will dictate probably what Bitcoin does. The pattern in the chart is bullish still. And the way I'm getting my 22.5 target price in the near term is this pivot high right here. And just in case we see a break of that, we can do a quick parallel line here. So kind of drag it through the lows and then drag it up here. And what we could see is that that price at the top of the bearish channel here would be 25,000 or so. So again, 22.5 first target. If it's able to get through that, then look for 25,000. I don't think it has much more in the tank besides 25,000 to go before, unfortunately, we start to crap out again. Basically, if you look at what the Fed is doing, they're not going to cut rates. We have to be fair with that. It might take a really bad recession for them to cut rates. So we're not going to see that cut, but I think they go to neutral. They stop hiking at least going into the new year. So I do think positive. I am near-term bullish, even though I'm still midterm bearish. For me, at least chart-wise, one that's kind of popped up to me is Quant, right? And Quant's the big run. It kind of got all this attention just over the last couple of weeks. But one of the things that caught my eye, and I'll just do a quick chart analysis for you guys, is you had this beautiful inverse head and shoulders. Now, an inverse head and shoulders, for those of you that don't know, is a bullish pattern. And I'm just going to draw it in real quick for you guys right here. And you can basically see it's like an upside down person, right? So shoulder, head, and shoulder. And the key here to this chart setup is that when you break the neckline, basically you're connecting this point to this point, you get a measured move of this distance to this distance right up here. And it went to a T right to that target before pulling back. Now, it's already hit target. So what, as a trader, I'm looking to do is buy the pullback. So where do we buy it? And the answer is you look for a retrace right in this area. So right around 120 to 130, that will be major, major support. I have an alert out for myself on this. If it gets down to that level on a sell-off, I'm a buyer there at 120 to 130. Market has an 88% chance that the Fed's going to hike by 75 basis points. Those are what the market's projecting. So everyone should expect that. The Fed has choreographed it and kind of telegraphed it to the public here. The key, and this is what's going to move the markets, no one's going to bat an eyelash when it's a 75 or even if it's a 50. It's not important. What's important is what the Fed says going forward. So if the Fed says, and this is what the market's been rallying on recently and why we've seen the dollar weaken a little bit, is that if the Fed is going to go on pause now for a few months and wait until the new year to reevaluate how strong the economy is, how strong inflation is, that's what the market's hoping for. So again, look for the 75 basis points, and then what does the Fed say afterwards going forward? Take the under on that. I think it's going lower, unfortunately. And again, if I thought the Fed would start printing next year when we get into a recession, I'd say, hey, all steam ahead. He's 100% right on everything. But there's no way inflation's going back under 2% and going to let the Fed print us out of another recession. So I think we're mired in a potential 10-year bear market, or at least sideways action stock market. And I think eventually you're going to see crypto emerge as a safety asset after maybe another year of kind of troublesome, whipsaw as a risk asset. But that's going to be the kicker, is when you get in these long-term bear markets, people are going to look for an alternative to stocks. And I think that's where Bitcoin comes in.